The doom loop in downtown Portland continues. Big shocker, I know. Now we've got yet another building, a big one going into foreclosure. It's commonly referred to in Portland as the Black Box. Unlike Big Pink, which we just featured, another building with a pink hue tone, this one is black and it's a box. And it's in trouble. Let's get into it. Here we go. Now, initially, what you're seeing is that people want to, they want to throw different reasoning out for why these buildings are going into foreclosure. A lot of it has to do with the work from home phenomenon. It has to do with selling stuff online. You can sell more stuff online. But there's also the additional factor of just basic unrest in downtown Portland because you don't have enough police to basically handle public safety. And you've had the riots, and the riots are now ongoing again. They've had 22 days of straight rioting in downtown Portland. Let me give you an example of what we're talking about. All right, so here's the building. Get out my yellow guy. That sounds racist. My yellow pointer. All right, so here's the building that we are talking about. This is Big Black here. And here are the green right here, those are the three parks where a lot of the federal building is right here. Main federal building in downtown is right there. The other one, the ICE building, is to the south a little bit, by a mile and a half, something like that. But then you've also got the Ritz-Carlton that's being foreclosure here. And Big Pink is also right within this area of downtown Portland. And downsizing of anchor tenant tips major downtown Portland building into loan default. A lot of these buildings are already on the ropes. They've been hollowed out by the stuff we just talked about. But then you've got these additional layers. Downtown Seattle, same thing. You've got areas basically of unrest where you've got whacked out homeless nut jobs doing drugs, selling drugs, crashed out everywhere. You've got that on top of work from home policy, which is struggling. All governmental entities are struggling to bring people back to their downtown core. And you've got buildings that were purchased, sometimes a long time ago, but they've added on debt, they've layered on debt, and now the interest rate environment is considerably higher than it was a few years ago, and property values have dropped. So that's why I say that the doom loop cycle in Portland has continued. And here's a couple that we've looked at. U.S. Bancorp joins Portland exodus, leaves Big Pink amid downtown decline. That's the Big Pink building. Here's Ritz-Carlton's Portland Gamble fails. Luxury hotel faces foreclosure amid urban decay. Yeah, that's what you've got going on. And in downtown Portland, it's worse. Here's our Big Black building. That just looks like Darth Vader, doesn't it? Yeah. It's black. And it's a box, and it's the Big Black Box. U.S. Bancorp Tower is Big Pink for its hue. 1000 Broadway is the Ban Roll-On building because it's an architectural deodorant stick. Now another of Portland's whimsically nicknamed office towers, the staid and mysterious Black Box, is in default on a $63 million loan, its lender says in new court records. All right, it's got to see what's going on. This comes after one of the anchor tenants at 200 Southwest Market Street, Regents Blue Cross Blue Shield of Oregon, downsized significantly within the building. They had XYZ square footage, 120 square feet, 120,000 square feet. They downgraded to 60,000 because they sent everybody else working from home. They only need half of the space. Well, now all that space is not bringing in income to the owners, and they're defaulting. They're a valued tenant in the building, Russell said. Russell is the owner. Property owners rely on rent collections to pay down debts backed by their buildings in tightly orchestrated contracts. Okay. When a major tenant cuts back or leaves and no one comes in to replace it, that throws the orchestration into disarray. ultimately resulting in foreclosure. Not good, not good. So we get into some of the more technical stuff. Judicial foreclosure lawsuit filed Monday and first reported by Willamette Week states that a payment plan established between the owner and the lender to help make up for the lost region's rents fell apart. Lender Metropolitan Life Insurance Company issued a loan for $63 million in 2017 with the building as collateral. But after the Regent's downsizing from 120 to 60,000 square feet, building owner 200 Market, yada yada, failed to make payments under a new June 2023 amendment to the loan terms. The bottom line is that there aren't enough tenants that want office space in these areas of downtown Portland, areas of downtown Seattle, areas of downtown New York City, downtown areas of San Francisco. And if you have street conditions which are not conducive to people wanting to take down large chunks of office space, then you're going to have a lot of vacancy. And in Portland, it's over a third. So you got 30%, 35% vacancy rate. A third of everything is vacant. And then in areas where it's even worse, you have more. The borrower is generally not paying debts as they become due, MetLife wrote in its lawsuit. Meaning every month comes by, a payment's due. Yep, they don't pay it. They don't pay into that fund that was supposed to help them out when, basically putting in some reserves. They're not doing that because they don't have enough income to pay all of their obligations. That's what happens. And they don't have the ability to borrow their way out. And they probably don't have the reserves. They've spent the reserves long, long ago, right? Russell told the Oregon Live the ownership group has disputed the default from the get-go. This is the middle of a long struggle, he said. Well, that's what you're gonna say when you don't have the money to make it go. There's big time real estate developers in Seattle that are struggling to make a go of it. I mean, this is not uncommon. You're in a terrible environment for big commercial buildings in a lot of these big blue cities. In addition to seeking a foreclosure, MetLife is asking the court to appoint a receiver to take control of leasing and rent collections. Totally normal, totally standard. Hey, we can't get the owner of this building to make payments. Can you hook us up with somebody who can make sure that they take over and they take whatever rent money's coming in and apply it to the building instead of doing something else squirrely with it? And I'm not saying that's happening, but that's always the reason for a receivership, is to get a third party in there that has no interest in the building and is going to do, technically from the court standpoint, what should be done with whatever revenues are coming in relative to expenses and make sure that those expenses get paid. I should say this is pretty normal for a commercial real estate cycle. This is just what happens. But this is particularly a bad one because you've literally got civil unrest happening on a nightly basis in downtown Portland. That's the extra level of icing on the cake that kind of disincentivizes any real big business from wanting to come in. All of the big businesses have basically left. You've got business after business after business, US Bank being the most recent example. Take our name off that building. We're out of here and don't ever call us again. Big pink going into foreclosure. So it's an uncertain moment for Russell, best known as the developer of the Pac West office tower in '84, and more recently a vociferous advocate for renovating Keller Auditorium, which is literally across the street from his complex, because if you renovated that, maybe some tenants would want to move in to his building and make things better. He's looking for anything to turn this around. And unfortunately, you've got the big struggle of interest rate environment, costs to build, costs to do anything have gone through the roof, costs to renovate have gone through the roof, work from home. There's just so many factors. And in a Seattle or a Portland, you layer on top, in a good day, maybe your building doesn't get tagged. But otherwise, that's going to happen, right? Office building loan is the latest of many defaults as downtown Portland struggles to rebound from the depths of the COVID-19 crisis, which didn't have to be a crisis the way that it was, but big blue liberal cities in big blue liberal states, they made it a crisis. And the shift to hybrid and remote work, more than a third of offices are empty in the urban core, according to a commercial broker. So, this is not a crazy story. This is the end result of just all kinds of ridiculousness going on. And by ridiculousness, here's another example of kind of what I mean. Now, this is down the road a little bit, and this is a little bit out of the way from what we're talking about, but it's pretty damn close by, all things considered. Take a look at this one. This was a great one. I've done a full podcast on this one, but I want you to see. Here we go. We got to make fun of this guy every single time that we come to this juncture on this video. Look, he's got a homemade shield. He's pretending he's an adult. He's a warrior in all black bloc, clad. He's got the mask on. He's got the bandana. He's got the hood. He's got the REI, 3-season triple layer Gore-Tex because he doesn't work. He's in his mom's basement because he's protesting during the day when he should have a job. And then he's got the prerequisite. And these are the people that are running around downtown Portland like lunatics because they are. And that is part of the layer that we're talking about. People don't want to rent office space if they know they've got this kind of absolute ridiculousness going on, and city leadership does nothing. These people have been, bashing their whatever against the federal building for 3 weeks straight now. And what's city leadership in Portland doing? Not much. It's just civil unrest. It's Portland. Yeah, well, your office buildings are going into default. So how's that working out? Your office buildings are literally going into foreclosure. And one of the elements there, to me, as a real estate guy, is you haven't provided the idea of public safety as a real thing. And you don't have enough cops to do that, even if you did. Now, the other part I want to say is we've got the requisite communism symbol here, the sickle and hammer. And you've also got ACAP, which is all cops are bastards. So if you want to allow people like this to run around your city and do ridiculous things, all right, if you want to consider that to be mostly peaceful when they try and set the federal building on fire, which I have physically witnessed in Portland, it's just insanity. It's insanity. But here we go. Here's a little bit. This is even better. Let's watch this.
Down, it's midnight.
Here we go.
Turn that shit down. It's midnight. I will turn it down. I would love to. You just have to ask me, and I'm being nice, even though you're screaming at me. F you. Oh. Every night.
This is an upset Portland resident in downtown Portland near basically same street as where the federal ICE building is, a little bit away from where we're talking about. But this is the kind of civil unrest that big companies don't want to bring their tenants into this geographic area for obvious said reasons. Now, this is the middle of the night, and this woman is pissed that Antifa is causing a racket in her neighborhood, and she is upset, and she is loud and proud and letting them know her thoughts. She is sharing her emotional experience in downtown Portland. Let's back it up.
Down, it's midnight. I will turn it down. I would love to. You just have to ask me, and I'm being nice, even though you're screaming at me. F you. Oh.
That is so great.
You're wrecking your shit. Turn it down. We the people need sleep.
Oh, this woman is great.
Well, why would I stand there? You have lonely if you hold yourself.
That's so great. So bad. Oh, she's ready to go. Look, Antifa walks away as usual. Don't want to confront. Too weak. Not strong enough to actually fight.
Shut the fuck up. I'm sleeping. Yeah.
I'm sleeping. That guy looks like he's... so childish. Ice out of Portland. See how it's sing-song? It's like a children's rhyme, isn't it? I mean, it's off. It's so bad. It's so bad. So is it a shocker? Is it a shocker that we end up with downsizing of anchor tenant tips major downtown Portland building into the loan default? It's not a shocker at all. It's part business cycle. It's part interest rate environment. It's a part social unrest. It's part of the doom loop just continuing. You've got this vortex of doom loop, and there's really nothing to stop it, because what we're pointing out is that leadership in Portland doesn't have the ability to take control, to grab it by the you-know-what, and make the changes necessary to make Portland what it once was, which is a really cool downtown area. And that sucks. But that's feckless leadership for you. That is leadership. That is big blue city leadership. This is the end result. You get a bunch of foreclosures. And I'm not saying that's not happening in Republican cities either. It is, because of some of the same underlying characteristics of the market. Work from home. It's happened in big red cities as well. But you don't have this additional just nonsense going on and this pull of the doom loop, which is you have leadership that can't work its way out of a paper bag because they're so inherently weak. They don't have the ability to pull a Rudy Giuliani and do the broken window theory. You know what I mean? Hey, we're going to start with every little thing. We're going to fix it, and we're not going to allow this nonsense to happen. And we're cleaning up the darn city right now. This is what we're doing. You don't have that in Portland. You don't have that in San Francisco. You don't have that in Seattle. You've got various little elements of that happening with individual mayors, but these are mayors in big blue cities, and they got voted in by constituents who are weak at best. They're weak. They're weak people. They're weak. They're just, bring it on. It says the woman with the cane, and Antifa walks away. That is a classic example of the ridiculousness of these big cities. You got little kids playing games and by games, I mean trying to destroy federal property, being the ICE building. And what does city leadership do? They're mostly peaceful. Just a bunch of nut jobs running around with fake swords and fake shields. I mean, what do you need a shield for? What do you need a shield for? What are you protecting yourself from? When ICE shoots you with a rubber bullet, which you deserve, I hope you take it right here. I hope you just get, oh, good Lord. That's going to leave a mark. Not so much here, but right here, right in the middle. And with that thought, I'm going to leave you on this one. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks so much for being here. I'd love to have you subscribe, hit the notification bell, hit the like button if you like this, because we're covering a lot of this stuff. Real estate background, this is what I do. Thanks for being here. Catch up in the next one. Bye for now.